Hi, my name is Aisha Wilson, and this is my story.
Hello, you guys. This is the fourth and final part of the Sit Down series, Hope and Hell. I will be speaking with Aisha Wilson. How are you doing, my love?
I'm here and present. I'm good. This is awesome.
I'm gonna read through some of your work, some of the things that you've managed to accomplish, because it's really impressive, my love. You have a bachelor's in public health. Mm-hmm. You've been doing harm reduction work since 2020, providing health education. You spearheaded the development of sexual health education programs tailored for youth, sex workers, and detox programs. You co-founded an organization dedicated to empowering young Black women in 2017. You served as a policy advocate with Planned Parenthood, became one of 2 Black women to help establish the one and only syringe exchange in all of Central Florida. And then you helped secure a $100,000 grant for the syringe exchange program and grew the entirety of the program from 109 participants to 500.
Yes.
Baby, that's impressive.
If
that's not Black girl magic, I don't know what is. I don't know what is.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. You know, you got to give you flowers.
I mean, I hope you are proud of all the work that you've managed to accomplish in spite of everything we're about to get into. But I mean, that is amazing.
It is. I'm very happy. It's a blessing. And it kind of just landed in my lap, and it became my baby. Really. Yeah.
Wow. All right. So I want to jump right into the mess. Okay. Describe your time working at Hope and Help. I guess we should also start off with what your title was at the time and when you had first started, right? So tell me when you first started.
I was a harm reduction coordinator.
Okay, so you were overseeing the syringe exchange program.
Yes, I was working in partnership with Lori Mesa and then Jamie Hartman at the time. Yes, it was the 2 of us working. When I came on, they were really excited because I had harm reduction experience. I had just left Louisville, moved here, and I had a better understanding of how the program could possibly grow and from there.
Yeah.
And then I moved on to then become the lead harm reduction specialist. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, that messed me up. Harm reduction coordinator, lead harm reduction coordinator. And then from that point on, it was me and Nikita. And then Nikita eventually left, and where I was working with Maria Monaco as my intern. She was part-time. Yes, she's definitely harm reductionist in full. Yeah, I love Maria.
So you were the harm reduction coordinator at Hope and Help. What year was it? Do you remember?
February 2022.
Okay.
To May of 2023.
All right. And your experience at the organization throughout that period. Tell me about it, my love.
Well, unstructured, disorganized. When I got there, I had the best intentions. Again, everybody was very welcoming, very open. And as things started to progress, Jamie Hartman, who was one of my coworkers, who was helped with the syringe program, she was a white woman who had a lot of things going on, as we all do. But for whatever reason, Lisa Barr and Wes would always coddle her.
Lisa Barr, the executive director, and then Wes, the human resources manager.
Yes, human resources director, if that's what you want to call what he does. Yes.
Clock it.
So when it came down to anything, she would always take off from work. For one instance, we had to do an event at a university, and all day she waited until she was like, "Oh, Aisha, I have a blood clot. Do you think I should go to the hospital?" And I turned to her, I said, "Please just go." One point, we spent a whole work shift looking for her an apartment. Yes, on company time, because they would always make an excuse of saying, well, she's just having a really hard time, and, we should just be more understanding. I said, I show up every day. I literally was going through a separation. I had just moved to Florida, was starting all over with my life. And every day I showed up because this is what I wanted to do and this is what I loved to do.
Yeah.
Jamie then went on to then use the N-word. Not sure if I can say that here on this platform. But as a white woman, she was, okay. We were at SALT which is where we go every Tuesday for our syringe exchange.
Okay.
And me and Jamie and Lori were sitting around at the table for lunch. On our break, Jamie was on the phone talking to her brother-in-law or something like that for the matter. And she was joking about something. Lori asked her, "Oh, what's so funny?" And she goes, "Oh, my brother-in-law is talking about I'm not telling that motherfucking N-word shit."
And this is a white woman, a white coworker.
A white woman to a Hispanic woman and to a black woman just casually said it as if nothing happened. So I start to message Lori on Teams. And I said, "Did she say what I thought she did?"
Yeah.
And Lori responds back in all capital letters, "Yes, it must be comfortable to be a white woman to say that." So I let it go because I've been the person so far in this company where I have a voice. And I know that sometimes me being tall, black, not petite, it can come across as being aggressive instead of being educated or knowledgeable or speaking
passionate, outspoken.
Exactly. Or wanting to do your job. And so the next day, God bless Lori, she had just been in the new manager role for maybe a week at this point. And I turned to her and I said, "Hey, Lori, good morning." I said, "If you don't say something to Wes about the N-word with Jamie, I'm going to say something. I'm going to be nice about it, but I'm going to say something." And as the day goes on, a couple hours later, Lori comes up to me and she goes, "Hey, I had the discussion with Amanda Cruz, who was our prevention director at the time, and Wes, who was the HR director. And Wes was kind of wondering, what would you like for us to do and how would you like us to handle the situation?"
Okay. HR.
I said, I knew if I said fired, it wouldn't have, they would have been like, that would have been extreme, right? So I said,
for a racial slur, I mean, yeah.
That's anywhere else. And we serve the predominantly LGBTQ community and those of color. And majority of the people that I work with are of color in the prevention department. It shouldn't be okay to use any type of derogatory words, whether that's the N-word, the F-word, any word. So I said, make it an educational moment. And I went about my day. And they said, "Do you want an apology?" I said, "No, I don't want an apology. I don't want her to talk to me about it. I just want to move on."
Yes.
So they had the conversation. And of course, she came up and stating that she wasn't a racist and all of these things and that she loves black people. So then a week later, me and Jamie are stuck doing syringe exchange by ourselves at SALT because Lori had to do some type of manager duty, right? And Jamie comes up to me and she wants to apologize and then proceeds to use the N-word while apologizing to me. I turned to her and I said, we have to work together. I don't need your apology. I don't need your apology. So we sat there and we worked the whole day.
So in an effort to apologize for saying the N-word, she comes back up to you, says sorry, while saying the N-word again.
I guess that's a sorry. Yeah. And guess what? I didn't say anything to anybody. Because you don't want to stir the pot. You don't want to ruffle any feathers. So at some point down the road, it comes to a point where there's a discussion with leadership and Amanda about wanting to possibly fire her.
Okay.
So, I'm at a doctor's appointment and it's a Thursday. They had a leadership meeting on a Wednesday evening. And Thursday morning, I'm getting text messages from Nikita, and I was at a doctor's appointment. I said, "Hey, y'all, I'm at the doctor's appointment. I'll talk to y'all when I get to work." They said, "Well, when you come to work, you need to come find us." I'm like, okay. And it's like something within your system just changes.
Yeah.
And I just felt like it's some shit about to happen. Excuse my language. So I get to work and I get back there, I find the girls, and they're like, hey, Aisha, they were talking to Jamie about, wanting to fire her. Then all of a sudden, Lisa and Wes stopped with the firing process because Jamie had brought up how there had been a comment card where I had called a participant a crackhead. So they halted this said firing to go find said comment card. When they told me that, I quietly got from back in the warehouse where we all used to hang out at, and I go into Lori's office, and I sat down so calmly. I was furious, and I literally sat down and I said, I will quit today. I mean, I was pissed. I said, I will quit today. I said, y'all have this white woman in here. She doesn't show up to anything. She's talking about, oh, she doesn't feel good, or she says she doesn't feel included. She went around to Wes and Lisa all the time telling them how me, Gabby, Priscilla, Sarah, Nikita, Lori, never included them in anything. As if we have to when we're outside of work. We don't have to. So you know what ended up happening? Since we all got along in prevention, they started separating us. We couldn't eat together. They told us we couldn't eat together. We couldn't sit in the little community room, all of these things.
This is high school. I'm so confused.
And you know how old Jamie is? She's 40-something years old talking to a bunch of 30 and 20-year-olds as if we're supposed to be her friends. So Lori had to go tell Wes and everything. I literally went home for that day. I didn't know who was going to work syringe exchange, but it wasn't going to be me because I had to honestly think if I was going to stay here.
Yeah.
Because I had already been passed up on the manager position the first time. Lori had got that position. That was not a problem. It was just a lot of the things that were happening that when Jamie isn't present, it was all falling on me. And that's where it came down to where I was the only one working the syringe program.
So now the weight of the entire syringe exchange program fell on your shoulders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So my next question to you is, were there any members of leadership during your tenure that made your job difficult?
Lisa Barr definitely made it difficult. After Alton had been fired, wrongfully so, she had us do a prevention meeting where she had Wes come and meet with us a few days before the meeting to gather all of our concerns, as if we have never addressed all of our concerns with prevention, all the micromanaging and different things like that. Yeah. So after Wes came in to our prevention meeting, gathered all of our concerns and issues, we then had a meeting with Lisa where we thought she had gotten those concerns. She then proceeds to tell us, all the things that we're doing wrong. At this point now, we haven't got the mobile unit. We've been waiting for the mobile unit to get out there into the community. The whole complaint was that they felt prevention wasn't out in the community enough. Can't do that if we don't have a mobile unit. And so at a certain point, she's going around talking to us about all of these things. And I said, so you're telling me, Lisa, I interrupted her. I said, you're telling me that at no point did Amanda or Alton or Lori tell you about any of the problems that we've addressed, like Morgan being disrespectful. When it came to the syringe participants, he would make comments such as, oh, it's funny that they can come here and get syringes, but they don't have enough sense to go get food for themselves, when I asked for 2 granola bars for a participant that hadn't ate in 2 days. When it came down to the pantry, asking for food for the participants were allowed to have food. But somehow it became a point where he's like, they can't get food every time they come here. Okay, cool. So we did it once a week, and we started tracking manually when they were getting a food bag. Mind you, in the food bags, it's peanut butter, tuna crackers, applesauce, 2 cups of applesauce, a bottle of water, a small little thing of toothpaste, and a toothbrush. Okay, he would Gandalf it Okay, that's what I don't know if you guys know Lord of the Rings, but
Yeah.
yes. So we did it. We went down to a week. Then it became even of a bigger thing where I said, you know what? We don't need to give it to the participants then, because if it's always a problem and it's always coming up in all staff meetings, because he wouldn't directly talk about the program, but he would say, you know, these participants, they're coming and getting all of this food, and that's what the food is for. It's an emergency food pantry. You don't own any of this.
Right.
But somehow he has been given so much power to, so that's why now we have a fence over the pantry.
Wow.
Because of the syringe participants and because he wanted to monitor how they were getting it. They put a camera back there so that they could monitor the pantry.
So just to reiterate, this is the patient assistance manager.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Somebody who is tasked with their responsibility to serve the underserved who don't have access to the monetary funds to pay for their care, you know, get access to certain food. And the organization provides these resources at no cost to them.
Yes.
And we have here a white patient assistance coordinator holding an emergency food pantry under lock and key, becoming a barrier to important, vital care.
Yes. Because most of the participants, yes, they are homeless. Most of the participants are homeless. Now, a lot of our participants come from different walks of life, but I feel if somebody's asking for food, it shouldn't be a question if that's what Hope in Hell is here to do. Okay. Yeah.
My goodness. So, I mean, you were dealing with that back in 2022.
Yes.
You know, a lot of the people that I spoke with today in past interviews, and I myself were working at the organization 2023. And I've spoken to several other former employees who were at the organization prior to 2022 sharing similar experiences. And what I keep hearing is a pattern of racial insensitivity, barriers of access internally within the organization, barring our patients, barring participants from important resources. I think that's something the audience should know, that like this existed way prior, before I came on board. Alami McAdam came in, Anita Nunez, Amanda Cruz. Like, these are systemic issues, and it all has to deal with ineffective leadership and ineffective board, people who are committed to their ignorance. My follow-up question for you is, and you've kind of briefly touched on it, did you feel safe as a Black woman working within this organization? As one of few Black employees within the organization.
No, not at all, actually. Not even just, and this is no shade to anybody that I work with or that calls me friend.
Yeah.
I don't feel that a lot of people necessarily had my back or understood how I felt in any scenario. And at certain points, like, people would be like, Aisha, be more of a team player. And I'm like, I'm literally doing it all by myself. I'm running a syringe program, and, you know, people expect the most of you. People expect you to be nice and kind, and when you're not 100%, then there's something wrong and you have an attitude and you're angry. Yeah. I didn't feel that when I addressed my concerns that they were heard. Yeah, no.
In addition to that, I want to ask, what are your frustrations working as a Black woman in this respective field?
Kind of touching on what we were talking about earlier, I can be very direct, but it doesn't mean that I'm aggressive. It means that I'm intelligent. It means that if you...
You're assertive.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between assertion and aggression.
Yeah, and I think to the point where the job made me become an angry Black woman.
Yeah.
You know, I would always be on 10. I would always feel like paranoid because I'm always worried about how I'm going to be perceived. And if I fall off, then I'm not doing enough. I always have to do things 10 times better. And that's kind of how I felt. And even though I felt like I was giving 110%, I was met with, I was lackadaisical. I applied for the manager position 3 times. 3 times in the year and a half I was there. And each time I was told no.
And it wasn't because you didn't meet the qualifications.
They told me I was lackadaisical. I didn't know that was a reason that you couldn't get a job. I thought it was based off qualifications. I was told by Brian, who was I can't even remember what his title was there. Brian Martinez, that senior leadership, Lisa and Wes, probably Charlene too. Because at the time, Charlene was not a supporter of what I was going through. And I thought as a Black woman that I could have leaned into her, and I couldn't at the time. And it took until I left for her to see the shit that was going on there. And now everybody's fleeing or getting fired. And that would not be me. Sorry.
I mean, you kind of highlighted your experience working with Morgan in regards to the emergency food pantry. Were there any other instances, any other experiences that you had, either by way of how he interacted or engaged with participants or patients, or through your own personal conversation with him, where there was racial insensitivity, cultural insensitivity? You felt like there was not a regard for the Black folk he shared space with.
So he never said anything racial to me. Yeah. I think it was more so he would like to swing his dick around a lot.
Okay.
That's how I'm going to put it. Because, for instance, after the whole Jamie thing in July of 2022, I kind of just started sitting back in the community room in that big place where we have all the all-staff meetings, and I would sit back there and I would just avoid everybody because, again, we all couldn't sit together. And also, since I was running a program by myself, giving presentations and all that, I needed time just to be by myself. So I sat back in the back, stayed out of trouble, said everybody business. Somewhere around February of 2023, now this is like 6-7 months after I've been sitting back there, Morgan walks his ass in through the side door where we all walk in the morning, and he goes, "Why are you sitting back here? You know we're not supposed to be sitting back here. Didn't they tell you you're not supposed to be sitting back here?" I said, "Nobody's ever said anything to me. Lisa, Amanda, nobody's ever said anything to me." And he goes, "Well, I'm just trying to help you out just in case you get in trouble." First off, I'm not worried about getting in trouble with anything all the shit that's been going on here. I could never get in trouble for sitting somewhere.
But also, you're a grown woman. Like, let's be for real.
And if my boss, Amanda Cruz, had a problem with me doing anything, which anytime there was an issue, she would come talk to me about it. So, and nobody ever talked to me about it. A week later, during my one-on-one with Amanda, she goes, "Well, it's a thing now where we can't have anybody sitting back there. They want everybody to kind of sit together now in their cubicles, and nobody was allowed to sit back there ever again after that." Morgan has a lot of magic in his finger over where I was sitting. So stupid. Then there's that.
Not as giving Rosa Parks, honey. They tell you where to sit, get to the back of the bus. Like, this is crazy.
And I was sitting in the back of the bus. Let me sit in the back of the bus. But, and then there was the Hep C program that he was over. Yeah. So you would be able to get participants in if they turned up to be Hep C reactive. And so we would get them into a program. And I'm not sure if this was necessarily a Morgan thing. But again, our participants, transportation is an issue. They have other things that they need to worry about. They might not make it to an appointment. They might not have a phone. So them telling you that they can't come should not be a reason that you kick them out of the program. He would take joy in, well, they missed their appointment. They didn't tell me. Hep C, y'all. Hep C can destroy your liver. Hep C is the #1 reason for a liver transplant in the United States. just so everybody knows that. If we have the ability to give somebody a free medication, again, that's what we're here for. The program is just sitting there. You have slots open and available, and you're kicking somebody out. It's not like there's a wait list of people waiting.
And to be clear, it's not a lack of resources, not a lack of funds.
No.
Like there were things in place that could help participants get to the clinic.
Funding available
To help them get access to the medication, help them get to the appointment, right? I've had, people tell me they can get a Lyft or they can get an Uber to the clinic. Was that available at the time?
Yes.
So what was the issue?
Oh, gosh. Well, he goes, well, do you know how expensive the medication is? Yeah, I actually do know. I've been doing this for about 4 years now. I know how expensive the medication is, but I've never been like so not understanding. And again, why are you Gandalfing things?
Yeah.
It didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense. I don't think anybody actually successfully finished a treatment plan with him.
Whoa. And you're saying you don't think, because you can't confirm,
think.
you don't know.
I can't confirm or deny.
But based off of your experiences and what you've noticed and the many obstacles he ended up posing as.
Yes.
There were times where patients, it sounds like, lapsed out of care and they weren't able to get that Hep C treatment.
Yeah.
All because of the fact that he just wanted to play overseer.
On top of the fact of how hard it already is to get people into care just in general, especially when you're in an outreach setting, when you're out, it's so hard to get people in. And when they're ready. And
to trust to re-engage the medical system.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Wow. So, I mean, it's been a while since you've worked for the organization, and I'm sure a lot of this is long behind you now, but given some of the experiences that you've heard as of recent, do you feel vindicated? Do you feel like your story or some of the things that you experienced have been validated and you're not crazy, or you're not made to feel, you no longer have to bear the burden of feeling like, girl, I was just dealing with this by myself. I probably looked crazy to all of these people, and I've been sounding the alarm on what I went through within this organization for quite some time. Do you feel like you, in some way, shape, or form, like you've gotten that validation?
I feel that everything that is happening right now is the perfect karma. It's the perfect karma. It does make me feel validated. It makes me feel good to know that y'all stood on business so much, because at a certain point, when is enough enough?
Yeah.
And I feel that things that are done in the dark always come to the light. And I for anybody that I may have offended or been angry with, I'm sorry. But it was so hard doing all of that and then having to take on, another, 2 programs at the same time, taking care of 500 participants, being the person to go out there and do Narcan trainings at the Homeless Coalition and be the face and, interview with the city commissioner and do Q-Line X presentations and, then pick up the SAMHSA grant and then interview 75 people 3 different times and then trying to then sugarcoat things because leadership doesn't like when I'm truthful with grant managers about the way that I'm not 100% dedicating a lot of my time to that specific grant. Because when grants give you money, they tell you what percentages does what.
Yeah. And
they don't pay you to do the syringe program if you're supposed to be interviewing people.
Yeah.
How can one person manage a program? Syringe program is supposed to be run by 3 to 7 people, the size that they have there for however long that they have it, because they don't deserve the program and they don't deserve those participants. And then you can't also expect somebody to then go out there and then make connections to get interviews done.
Yeah.
And then also, oh, guess what? I'm also training people too. And I'm also training volunteers and I'm training interns. Like, there were so many times where Maria almost quit because at one point I got so overwhelmed that she thought it was because of her, that she felt that I wasn't including her in something. But little did she know I was just so overwhelmed. Like, it would take nothing to make me just be upset. Like, I'm already dealing with a divorce at the time. You know, my marriage had failed at the time. You know, it was just a lot. I moved here with nothing. Like, it was just a lot. And then to have to constantly be battling at work over stupid high school stuff about who I talked to, who we're friends with, when every single person that was in prevention just wanted to do their job. Yeah. Case management. You guys sit there and dictate when we can interact with your clients, but then as soon as your clients are cutting up in front of my tent about their bikes for the holiday, NIE, you want to sit up there and get a fucking attitude with me? No, ma'am. Come get your client. Because y'all tell us we can't talk to your clients, come get your client. I don't care what's going on. She's cutting up in front of my tent with my clients, and I'm trying to do my job.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you just, it became a lot. And you felt like it changed you in ways that you didn't like.
Not at all. And it made me paranoid because I did not think anybody liked me.
Yeah.
And even to this day, I don't really know if anybody really truly likes me. It made me feel like I have an imposter syndrome. Like, I'm not capable of doing good things, or I'm not intelligent, or I'm not working hard enough. And being a Black woman, it's already hard
in a space like that, especially.
Yes.
Well, my final question to you is, even though you're no longer working for this organization, what does accountability, what does justice look like for you? What would you like to see come of Hope and Help?
I would love to see Lisa Barr, Wes, Cheryl, Morgan, Raquel, is that her name?
Yeah.
Raquel. I'd like to see them all fired. The board should be removed. And it needs to be fresh. Everything needs to be started afresh. I don't think that they deserve the syringe program. I think the syringe program should be taken from them immediately. I think that...
And this is out of your concern for participants, patients who seek care at this organization.
Yes, because even the front desk staff there, they've treated them so poorly. They would even fabricate silly things, like they said, like one of the participants reached over and tried to grab them because they were trying to get syringes, and it turned out it wasn't the truth. Like, and then or you're fake, just about everything. You don't treat them with respect. One thing one of the participants told me was when, and this is why I say they don't deserve this program. One of the participants said, when I came in here, I was with my head down and, I didn't feel good. I was embarrassed that I even have to come here, and they said, but the one thing that made me feel good after I left here was that you looked me in my eye the entire time. And not once did I feel judged. We were sitting here having a conversation as if you've known me. When you come to help people, that's how they're supposed to feel. Yeah. And none of those people there treat those people that way. It should not take 6 weeks for case management to get back to people. I still hear stories even though I'm not there. It's not fair. And the fact that, and what pisses me off even more is that I hate injustice to other people, especially when I work with them. It's irritating to me that when I would come into work, when they decided to try to move the syringe program in the testing room, we quickly shut that down. Mm-hmm. I come in, Amanda doesn't even know this is happening. They just do shit without even consulting Amanda about it.
And she's the prevention director. And
I feel so bad for her, even though I feel so bad for her because it's like she was just nobody. They fired Alton. And then, of course, she's on maternity leave. So then, of course, they can corner us into a corner and try to harass us about everything. They came up with a stupid daily, by the minute, weekly report thing that you had to do where you're calculating every 15 minutes what the hell you had to do. We did that for the month of January 2023. I told them in February, March, I said, y'all not getting that shit from me. I said, because I'm not doing this because you don't know what everybody does, because Lisa didn't really know what everybody does at their job. If you come to the fucking office, you would know.
And I want to know if that was a pattern similar to when you were employed. I mean, you obviously just stated that, but during my tenure at the organization, during Lamia McConnell's, Anita Nunez's tenure at the organization, Lisa Barr was barely in office. Lisa Barr knew of things that were happening internally by way of, HR, maybe discussions that she had with several members of senior leadership. But her presence within the office was little to none. And I feel like that definitely contributed greatly to the instability at the workplace, because not only was there was a committed effort to continue not only was there it didn't give her a chance to learn everybody. It was a lack of due diligence, and there was a commitment to oversight, is what I'm trying to say. It didn't seem like she had a vested interest in the overall mission and value of the organization. She was just clocking in maybe once every 2-3 weeks just to get that paycheck.
But she's a lesbian and she knows black people. during the meeting, honey, this is what she told me. So after the meeting that we had, after they fired Alton and they tried to tell us, to address your concerns and all of these things and how they're going to be implementing, weekly reports and all this stuff, and Wes was going to continue to pretty much be her mole. Okay. Lisa asked for me and Lori to come into the office, because I was eating her up with my eyes. And so we get into her office where Wes is there, and, she's going on and on about how we haven't done anything with the mobile unit, and it's just been sitting out there. First off, we've been waiting for that thing for a whole year. It was broken, first off. And you just can't go out anywhere with a mobile unit, that ugly mobile unit that they didn't consult anybody in prevention on. That's going to be out there doing the work. Again, they would always just pop up and just say, it's roses outside. Okay. I guess it's roses outside. So so she got to the point where she was so upset that she was pointing her finger and raising her voice at us. Lori had to say, could you please stop pointing your finger at us? She was raising her voice with me. I was raising my voice back with her. Sam, who I'm not sure if anybody's mentioned Sam.
The janitor, yes.
Yes, the janitor. He then goes to tell people that somebody should go in there and help Lisa because Aisha's yelling at her. And then also, I guess Cynthia, whose office was right next to Lisa's, I guess she heard me talking about her daddy because he don't clean shit.
And for
excuse
context,
my language. I'm sorry.
Cynthia is the daughter of Sam, the janitor, and she works within IT, I think.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Between Cheryl and Cynthia, I don't know who does what. I think they do the same thing.
They overlap.
They get paid too much to do whatever they don't do.
Ugh, clock that tea.
Just like her daddy doesn't clean. If you could see the
bathrooms,
the floors in the community room have not been mopped in forever.
In over a decade, girl.
There are gnats, cobwebs in the community. It's just so nasty. And so she got offended, and I guess was telling everybody I was talking about her daddy, and did. Because while Lisa's up here talking about what I'm not doing, once again, I'm running your program, and your program isn't running good from what I hear. And that's exactly what I thought, because there's not very many harm reductionists in Florida.
There's not.
So, and on top of that, people call her Mama Lisa. I'm not sure how this is going to go, but Tanya and Kelvin, who are on the prevention team, are probably the only two people who probably are fans of Mama Lisa. Everybody call her Mama Lisa. She go around hugging, kissing everybody. Everybody loves her because she's just done so much for me. You guys, this is just how it's always been. That's what they say. I'm like, Kelvin and Tanya are out there at the jails. They don't know what's going on here.
These are people who are barely in office, so they have little to no interaction with Lisa when she is in office.
And it's just crazy how everybody's like, well, this is just always how it's been. Okay. This is how it's been. That's a problem because nothing is changing. Yeah. When you go out there in the community, nobody has anything nice to say about Hope and Help. I was at a community event, and they wrote off everybody. They said, and that's embarrassing when people come up to you and you're trying to make connections with people, and people go, "Oh, Hope and Help," like, and then it's like, but I'm not them. Yeah. I'm,
Wow.
Mama Lisa.
Well, Aisha, you said a lot of amazing things, a lot of scary things. As I've heard in a lot of these interviews. I want to thank you for coming on. I want to thank you for being vulnerable. I want to honor you, Miss Ma'am, for all the work that you put into this program before I got there, before any of us got there. We are appreciative of everything that you contributed. It does not go unnoticed. And people will know that a Black woman, you are one of two.
I really never
built and contributed so much to that syringe exchange program.
I never thought about that until you mentioned that. And
no,
I was like, okay,
we have to honor that. We have to hold space for that. Your work will not go unnoticed, and I think
hopefully it won't be the last time I get to step foot in the harm reduction.
Harm reduction space. I think you are a valuable member in this space, in this work, and
I
think
all are too. You all are too.
Thank you. And I think a lot of people from Dr. Hansel Tooks, everybody who, oversees idea exchange, I think they would say the same. Yeah. And you did so much. You did a lot.
They're awesome. Yeah, they're awesome. Yeah.
But is there anything else you want to add where people can follow you or find you or support you? Or would you like... How would you like the girls to show up for you?
Right now, I work in domestic violence right now. So I'm on Instagram, Sadeonay, Sadeonnay. Because I'm a wine girl. Hey. Other than that, no, that's it. Yeah, all right. That's all I can think of.
Well, again, thank you for coming on. And I think that is a wrap.